I'm Jessica.
And I'm David.
Welcome to episode 9 of the Singer's Soapbox. We call this episode Virtual Reality, and we'll be discussing the pros and cons of our new virtual reality in these crazy times.
In light of the coronavirus quarantines and social distancing, Dynamic Fine Arts Academy has decided to go virtual with our lessons.
And right now we are actually running a special on our lessons. So if you are interested in taking lessons still, but you're afraid to get out and about, we have a kind of special promo deal right now. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're cutting our registration fee in half right now. So that's only $10 for your registration. And then the first 4 lessons are going to be $20 each. And that's regardless of the teacher. Our teachers set their own rates, but they've all agreed to do the same rate for this first 4 weeks while you're doing virtual lessons. So that's a pretty good deal. $80 for, well, I guess $90 for 4 lessons virtually.
It's kind of a steal. Lessons, depending on the quality of the teacher, they can be kind of expensive, and it's really very generous of our instructors right now to actually agree to go that low and to offer those lessons at this time. So we wish we could do it for free, but unfortunately we can't. We are a small business and we did just start out, so this is really difficult for us at this time to do anything like that. So and that's I want to put a shameless plug in for all small businesses out there. Make sure that you do go and support them, because they really need you right now, and some of them are going to have to close their doors just because of this. I mean, just a week even without traffic can really hurt, but a month or 2 or 3, that's really going to hurt a lot. So thank you very much for supporting your small businesses, your local and small businesses. So anyway, on that note, let's move on.
So first question, and this video I'm basically going to be asking Jessica a bunch of questions about doing virtual lessons, because she's done a lot more of them than I have. Actually, I don't know that I've done any yet, so
he hasn't had the opportunity.
We're figuring it out as we go, but I'm going to ask her some questions. So the first one is, what were your original thoughts when you realized that you had to go virtual?
I was very opposed to it. I didn't like it, and I didn't want to do it, just because there's so many things that contained within the human element whenever you're making music together, especially with students, and that I feel like you lose a whole lot of it, like whenever you have to just be on an online platform and talking to a camera, and that was really kind of scary for me. So it was something I knew I needed to do and step out of my comfort zone and just kind of charge at head on. So I didn't like the idea at first, but I'm coming around, I should say.
Yeah, it's
growing on me.
So since it's growing on you, what are some of the pros that you've found for teaching online lessons?
Well, I didn't realize this until I started teaching my first online lesson, and that was I like that you can see yourself, and I love that the students can see themselves, because there's so many times where I'm like, all right, look at the mirror. You have to see what you're doing right now, because your mouth is moving, your mouth is in a weird shape, or you're twitching your jaw, you're moving your head, and they don't notice that they're doing it. Mm-hmm. And so I like that they can see themselves, like whenever we're doing our online lessons, because then they can see exactly what I'm talking about. I can also see myself too, and that helps, because I have to make sure I'm demonstrating properly. So sometimes I can do one thing and then it might not come out the way that I really wanted my students to see. So it helps. It kind of keeps me in check as well. And I like that since you are using a video, like you can record yourself, and you can use that for later use. Like, you can show growth with your students, like, oh, look where we were at this day and age, and then now all of a sudden here we're somewhere else. So a couple other things I noticed is it also allows us to reach out and connect with people that maybe we wouldn't have before. Like, we were up to this point, we're in Pacific, so it's hard to really reach, encourage people to take lessons beyond the immediate 25-mile radius that we really kind of seek out and search out. And now we can reach out to all kinds of different people, like virtually, like, because you can pretty much go anywhere in the world using your webcam. So, and then it allows us some access to some amazing teachers who I want to give a shout out to right now, because all of our instructors, aside from us, they live really far from the studio, and even
it's really far.
Well,
they do have a little bit of a drive, but
it's not like a whole state away or anything.
Right.
But yeah, they all have a significant amount of time spent in the vehicle and on the way to the studio, and I really appreciate them because they make that effort to drive. Like, even when we can have lessons in person, they make that effort to be there and to drive that far. So when we do have lessons in person again, just know you're getting some really great people. But in the meantime, while we can't, they have been willing to go virtual and to step outside their comfort zone if maybe they're not totally comfortable with it, and really just try to get lessons going and still try to help us out. And I really appreciate them. They're really amazing people. So, and for my last point, you're also saving gas money if you're doing virtual lessons, and who doesn't want to do that? I mean, I know the gas prices are dropping right now, but in this current state, but I think that's definitely a bonus if you don't have to travel as far and save gas money. So sorry, it was a very long answer, but
yeah. So it's nice that you've been able to find some pros to it. We know it's not always ideal, but it's something we can do in the meantime, especially while we're all cooped up in our houses and not supposed to go anywhere. So it's, if you want to further your music education, or you just have something to do, this would be a good thing for you to do. So, we know it's not all roses and, to try and do things virtually. But so let's talk now, what are some of the cons? Why would you want to do a lesson in person versus doing one virtually?
Well, the main thing that I really don't like is the sound quality. I mean, I can't expect my students to buy a microphone that's like recording studio quality. I mean, you're looking at minimum $100 just for a microphone.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. You basically have to use the built-in microphone system, and that really puts a damper on things because you don't hear all the nuances that you normally would if you were in person. Like, there might be something about their tone that I can hear that I know is a result of tension, which is very bad, and when they sing, and I need to correct that immediately, because if I don't, they're going to keep doing it, and the more they do that, like, I know people say practice makes perfect, but I'm a big proponent of practice makes permanent. And the more that they do it and practice it, and the more permanent it becomes, the harder it is to undo whenever you need them to use proper technique and you're trying to get them to do it. So if I don't hear those things, I can't correct it, and they're going to be doing it still, like when I see them in person again. So also, I was talking with our piano instructor, and she was saying that it was really difficult, like, just from a piano perspective, to hear the pedal. She loses the pedal sound on the piano. She's like having a hard time hearing that with her students. So, I mean, from a piano perspective, I think that would be really challenging. You could probably still do songs with pedal, but it would be difficult to know, like, if that was the concept that you were teaching, it would be difficult to know whether or not the students were actually using it or not in the proper way.
Yeah, that sounds to me kind of like similar to with the voice, where you don't hear nuances in the tone, because the adding pedal to piano just changes the sound a little bit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always come across on the video. And it's not to say that, again, we're offering virtual lessons, so it's not that it's impossible. There's just some other challenges to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in relation to the sound too, like with the microphone, there's also delays, and so the delays make a big difference, because I usually do my warm-ups with the piano and the kids have to sing along, or not kids, adults too, sing along with it. So that's hard because I can't do my warm-ups the way my students are used to, and I really like to get into that routine, and so it's kind of disrupting our routine. I'm sure many of you understand that right now. But it also is frustrating because you also can't do any accompaniments. Like, it has to be all on the student's end. I have to make sure that not only they have headphones and a way to play, but also a way to play the recordings, because I can't, if I try to play an accompaniment recording, they're going to be like a whole few beats behind because they can't hear it in real time like I can. So that really makes it difficult. And then there's some I've had a couple times where there's been background noise and disruptions, and that's been frustrating trying to deal with that. It's hard not to be distracted whenever you're taking lessons from home, because you're in your element, in your own comfy spot.
You're like our little dog back here.
Yes,
he's being quiet today, though.
He's not squeaking his toy like usual. So anyway, that about covers my cons, I think.
Yeah. So what speaking of those cons, you know, what solutions have you found to deal with any issues like that you've encountered?
Yeah, so even though I have cons, you have to be flexible in this craziness. So I'm learning to be flexible with it. And basically what I've done is, for vocal warm-ups, even though they usually sing with the piano, this time I'm having them echo. And it allows me to listen a little better too, because I'm not focused on trying to play the right notes and making sure my fingers are in the right places. I can focus more on my students. So basically I demonstrate and play, and then they just echo back, and then I can do my best to listen to what I'm hearing from them with the sound quality that I have. Sorry, my phone is going off.
You know, it just occurred to me that might actually be a plus in some ways, because you're not having the student rely on you playing the piano,
right?
Like, to match the pitch. They're having to listen to it and then produce the pitch afterward, which is a little bit more challenging.
Yes.
Than singing right with the piano every time. And it
works on memory.
Yeah, it works on tone memory.
Absolutely.
And pitch memory. So.
I didn't think about that. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
But yeah. As far as like accompaniments go, I mean, I don't really play piano very well anyway, so I don't play along with my students. I know that's really tacky. Some of you out there are probably saying shame on you. But I know it's awful. But as far as the accompaniments go, a lot of the method books come with accompaniment recordings now, and so I can ask my students to log in and access the code that they were provided in their book and listen. And I know Hal Leonard, they do it to where, and I'm not saying, I'm not affiliated with Hal Leonard, but I know that they have it to where you can log in and you can actually adjust the tempo and everything, and the key, I do believe too, without it really compromising the piece of music itself. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so you can do accompaniments. It just has to be played on the student's end.
Right.
So that way they're synced up because they're listening to it in real time, and then when it comes across to the teacher, then the teacher hears both combined, and right. There's not that delay that happens.
It makes it a lot easier. So yay technology, because it's helped out a lot. I can't imagine, honestly, where we'd be without it right now. Because I think we'd be sinking horribly if it weren't for the fact that we didn't have technology to help us out right now. So whoever's in the technology fields and working really hard to keep all this going, thank you.
Yeah.
We owe you big time.
So what are some platforms that you've been using to try to do lessons?
Well, right now, and I'm not affiliated with any of these, I also should mention that, but right now I use Zoom a lot because it's free and it's actually really good. I feel like the video quality on Zoom is a lot better. I've also used Google Hangout, which works. And then I've used Skype before, but I've not used it for lessons, so I don't really know, but those have worked really well. And I know a lot of the video quality depends on your internet connection and your bandwidth and things like that, but I just feel like Zoom is really user friendly. All your controls are right there. I was having trouble figuring out Google Hangout the other day when somebody was calling, and that was difficult. So, yeah.
Yeah, and something else you have the ability to do on those platforms. I think on Hangouts and Zoom is to do a screen share so that
Yeah.
you can see what your students are seeing. Like if you've got an example or something to show them or
Mhm.
a musical example, that's something else that you can do.
Yeah, and I love that because it's like you don't have to just like hold it up to the screen like here, look at this, and you can't really see it. I mean, I
Yeah.
can physically put it on the screen and manipulate it and show them and teach them in real time. So I think that's really cool. Um, and then as far as like moving on, as far as background noise and disruptions, the way I've sort of combated that is I've noticed that having headphones really makes a huge difference
Mhm.
in what your computer's picking up and what's coming out on like toward me. And so I've been using headphones with my students too with a microphone. I mean, I know a lot of people have a phone, and I use my cheap headphones if I can get them apart from David's here, but I use my cheap ones that came with my iPhone, and it's even got the microphone like built into the headphones, and so I really like those, and those have helped a lot. Though sometimes I have had to lean down toward the speaker on my keyboard so that the kids can, or students, not just kids, can hear what I'm actually playing on the keyboard. So that's the only thing. But
Yeah, and that might be something we can look into. Like maybe trying to get the audio from the keyboard to go directly into the
yeah,
computer somehow. I'd
yeah.
have to do a little bit of finagling to try and make that happen. But
I
maybe we
married up when
can.
it comes to technology because he knows all so much more than I do, and I'm very grateful for him. So,
I just experiment a lot.
but
That's all.
he does a great job. So thanks, babe. All right, so yeah, that pretty much covers like my solutions and what I came up with. So anyway,
So if you had to choose between online and in-person instruction, which would you choose?
I would definitely choose in person because I just think that there's so many things. You just can't put the qualification on like the human element. Like I
Yeah.
said before, I think it's really necessary to be in person. But if virtual is the way it has to be right now, then I'm going to be flexible and I'm gonna tackle it head on. But like we're gonna make it work and it's gonna be okay. So
Yeah. Well, it's just like school right now. It's all going online because we have that as an option, and we don't have another option. So that's what we're going with, and we just gotta roll with the punches and try to make it happen.
yep, flexibility is the buzzword right now. Virtual flexibility.
Yeah. So, do you have any final thoughts on this topic of virtual reality?
Yes, it's our virtual reality right now. When it's all said and done, online lessons have grown on me. Like I said, they're not my preference, but they're growing on me for sure. They're definitely a welcome alternative in the times like that we're experiencing now, and I'm very thankful for all the technology people, and like I said, I can't imagine where we'd be without them. So anyway, I think that's about
Yeah.
all we've got for this afternoon, early evening.
Yeah. So to wrap up, we are offering virtual lessons now.
Mhm.
So if you're interested in signing up, you just go through our web page to the normal sign up that we have on there, and we're running a special now, half off registration and first four lessons for $20 a piece, and that's regardless of your teacher. So
Yep.
if you're interested, sign up. We offer lessons in all different kinds of instruments, and including voice, which both of us teach. So, you got anything else?
Follow us, like our
Yeah.
page, share this video if you can, please. It would help us out a whole lot.
Yeah.
We are, like I said, we're a small business and we are trying really hard to keep things afloat. And we appreciate those of you who are able to watch today. Thank you so much. We see a whole bunch of people watching right now, so thanks. Anything social media, follow us on, please, and get the word out. Spread the word, please, if you can. We would really appreciate it. And we are grateful for each and every one of you. And stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next Monday.
Have a good
Bye.
night.